Hello, everyone, and welcome to another third innings on day one. I'm your host Varun and I'm joined by Shayan Ahmad Khan. So, Shayan, let's just start right away. So, England win the toss and choose to bowl first. Would you say that was the right call, knowing what we know?
Yeah, I think that was the right call because we've seen that teams often bowl first at Headingley, right? And it's not just about Headingley; it's also about what England have done under the Bazball regime. They often choose to bowl first, and they have a pretty good record bowling first, like because they're a very good chasing team and they've done well bowling first. I think so. I think that was a good decision from them based on the past evidence. And like if we go by the past trends, so I saw this video by Sparsh Telang, and essentially what it said was that batting in Headingley gets easier by each innings. But this test match seems nothing like it, right? I mean,
Yeah. This
so
is
the first innings
definitely it.
itself has been pretty good.
Yeah, because I think if you remember in our group chat, but the moment they choose to bowl first, I was like, okay, it's a good game, lads. See you in the next one. Because I was like, I had no faith. I just assumed the
Exactly,
collapse was
exactly.
happening. So yeah, as
Yeah.
speaking of collapse,
78
what
all
did you
out
think of
PTSD.
78 all out period and all the other all outs India had in that period? So yeah.
I know, I
So
know.
what did you think of the team selection for both teams? Let's start with India first because it's a bit easier in that regard. So Sai
Yeah,
Sudarshan
so I
debuts for
think
India. Sai Sudarshan debuts for India and Karuna bats at 6 and everything else is where we expected it to be. Shardul at 8 and etc. So what were your thoughts on it?
yeah. Yeah, I think I like the four pacers plus Jadeja attack. This is what India did in England last time as well. Although they could have probably taken a bit of a risk and tried Kuldeep as well if they wanted to go that way. Because maybe I feel if they played Kuldeep, that would be interesting against Brook, who doesn't have a very good record against spin, playing in England as well. And then there's Ben Stokes. Also, we know how Kuldeep Yadav's matchup against Ben Stokes has been over the years. So I'm not sure how well it would have translated to English conditions necessarily, but I think it could have been an interesting move picking Kuldeep instead of Shardul. But I was completely okay with Shardul because I think he's a good fourth pacer to have in England and someone who can bat a bit at number 8. So I think that's a much better selection than Nitish Reddy, who actually did really well with the bat in Australia. Let's not forget that. But then again, he was bowling less than 5 overs per innings, and I
He
don't think you
only did
want
well
that
with
from
the
your
bat in
fourth seamer.
Australia.
Yep, exactly. He batted well in Australia, but
Hmm.
yeah. So, so I think
So the
India got those selections right. Yeah.
mhm.
Although Karun Nair at 6 does seem like okay, maybe he could bat a bit higher, but then I'm not sure if 3 is the right position for him because even in domestic cricket, from whatever I have seen, he has been batting at number 4, number 5. But did he get that 200 at number 3
He
in the
was batting
practice
at 3
games?
in the A game, yeah.
In one of the games, I think he was batting at 3.
Yeah,
So,
so it was 3 in the first one
he,
and 4 in the second one.
yeah, so the game that he gets a 204 in, I think that
Yep.
is the game he was batting at number 3. So
Yeah.
that was interesting. I think Karun at 6 is still probably, now it seems like, okay, after this start, Karun at 6 is a pretty good luxury to have, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a great luxury. The only reason I was against Karan at 6 is why waste a senior professional at number 6?
Hmm.
So it's either you bat him at 3 and tell him, okay, 3 is an incredibly tough position. Find a way to average 35 to 40 for the next 3 years. And we'll get
Hmm.
a new batter ready in that meantime at 6. Right? Whether who the hell
Hmm.
that new batter is, I don't care. Whether it's Sai Sudarshan, whether it's Dhruv
Dhruv
Jurel, or
Jurel.
whether you want to try Nitish Reddy at that, doesn't really
Hmm.
matter to me, right? So like they went for the weird, like I would have swapped them around. I think I have no issue with Sai Sudarshan if
Hmm.
I would have probably had him at 6, but I think that's also partly because Gambhir is obsessed with left-handed right-hand combination.
Possibly. Yeah, I do see the logic in that as well because, of course, when there is a right-hander and a left-hander, it does like bowling lengths and everything, line and lengths. They do get like it does get a bit. I know it in Test cricket, it's not as prominent as say white ball cricket, but I am still okay with left-right matchups in Test matches as well to quite an extent. So I do see the logic in Sai at number 3, and being that Sai himself has been playing in that position most of the times, I think, hasn't he? Or in first-class cricket, has he batted lower? Because what do you think
I
about
know the
that?
county runs he's made were at 6, so that's why I was
Yeah,
thinking that.
county runs were yeah, true. That's
Yeah.
actually true.
Also, like I also don't really believe in the whole specialist position thing in Test cricket.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing is the reason I would believe it in is if I want the whoever you pick to be batting consistently in the top 4 in first-class cricket before you pick them for Test cricket.
Yeah.
So let's just go right away. So India are batting first, and KL Rahul, as KL Rahul does, and Jaiswal again, both have a great opening partnership.
Yeah.
So, what did you think about the way both of them batted?
Yeah, so I actually think Jaiswal was taking a few like chances. He was playing slashing at balls wide outside of. So I think if you look at his control percentages, initially they were in the mid 70s. Although he was batting well, and if you see some of the drives and cuts that he was playing, he was actually batting really well. So taking nothing away from him, but I just think in that first session, KL Rahul was actually the one who was in more control. According to the control percentages, he was at around like the high 80s. So I think Kale does what he does. He was leaving well, playing, driving the ball well. I think that's always see the thing with KL Rahul is that we know that he's going to do well, at least compared to the rest of his teammates, whenever India are playing outside Asia. Now the thing with this is he does score a lot of his runs in the first couple of test matches of a big series, isn't it? Or maybe first
Yeah,
three matches
I
at times.
think is the prophecy true? Did KL use up his centuries in the A game? Or was that this just zero? Right. So yeah, I like the way KL played. I think he starts off a bit like KL fashion, and then he gets into his rhythm and he just drives everything in full. Right. His
Yeah.
dismissal I thought was a bit weird because he doesn't really drive. It's like a half drive. It's very like Virat Kohli-esque poke by him. Right.
Right. And wasn't Sanjay Manjrekar also saying something about it before, like that a senior Indian batter would have probably nicked
Nicked one
off
up by
there.
now. I think KL does
So
it. Yeah, because DK on the comms was talking about how that was the issue KL had in the last England tour, right? I don't know if you
yeah.
got this, if you heard the Sky commentary on your end.
I'm not sure I heard the same commentary as you did. At least I started watching the Sky commentary a lot. Like I started watching the on my TV. I was watching on Sony on the Sony channel. So at that point,
Okay, so
I think that was the same commentary as Sky, if I'm not wrong. But I did hear
yeah, if you heard DK, it's probably on
DK and
Sky.
Athers. Yeah,
Yeah,
I heard DK and Athers at the start of the GeoStar as well. So I think those things were there. But yeah, I think
yeah.
Kale
So
was
the
batting
KL,
beautifully again. See, the most important thing is obviously opening partnerships. You even if they don't score a lot of runs, it's just about the sort of foundation that they set, and this is why India did well in England even in the last time they went there, right? That Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul partnership, and this time it's Jaiswal and KL Rahul, and we saw them do well in Australia as well. Now I'm curious to see how their opening partnership has actually performed
I
so
would
far.
contend
So
that
do you
actually
think?
because I don't think they did well together. They did well one innings, and that was it as a pair
Yeah, that
in
one big
Australia.
innings
Yeah,
in
and
Perth's
they
second
like
innings they had
that's
one.
I was just
Actually, you're right.
yeah, it's one
It
good
just
innings
struck
as
me
a
that
pair. Both of them were individually were
true.
good. It's just as a
Yeah,
pair, it was
both of
just
them.
one innings.
Jaiswal was very good.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
so
KL
India
was
bat
good.
over 10 overs as an opening pair only twice in that series, I believe. So that's
No
MCG in the
wonder.
second innings and the Perth in the second innings, right? That's a pretty terrible for your opening pair. So I was very happy with the way both of them batted. So let's just talk about
Yeah.
Sai Sudarshan. Like he looked very nervous when every moment he was out there. So it's a bit of an unlucky dismissal for him. So I won't be too harsh. So what did you
Yeah.
think of that whole thing?
No, I wouldn't read too much into it. I think it's just like poor luck for the guy. He just ended up getting out to a poor ball. There's nothing in that ball. Getting out down, stranded down the leg side. That is like one of the worst dismissals that you think, right? Like even though at times it is also like you might be out of control, but in such a shot, like you're not even like massively out of control or anything. It's just like, ah shit. Probably like the one that Head got out, right? Head also got out
Yeah.
down the leg side in the WTC final, the first innings. So it's just like, yeah, it's sort of unlucky, but yeah, you have to make peace with it, I suppose.
All right, so let's finally come down to one of the first of the two Centurions, Yashasvi Jaiswal, who's done. What did you think of his innings? I thought it was pretty amazing. I think even the control percentages we were
Yeah,
talking about, I think his more outside control
exactly.
shots were on the leg. It wasn't like it was edging it
Yeah.
everything and being dropped, right? So I do think that's fine.
So I actually think in the second session his control percentage was a lot better.
Hmm.
Excuse me. Yeah, he starts batting a lot in a lot more control. And if you did you see his wagon wheel? He was scoring so many runs on the offside. A lot of his runs were coming through behind square, behind square on the offside, and then even through the covers region. So like he was very dominant towards the offside, and he did a really good job. I feel
Yeah, anything shorts and wide, he was just cutting it. Anything full and wide, he was driving it,
exactly. He was
wasn't
just
it?
really good at playing that
Yeah.
flash sort of a shot that he often plays. And at times, as I said earlier, he was playing and missing as well. But then I think the way he bats, it's just like it's sort of part and parcel does. So we have to kind of make peace with that. And not everybody can always have like this insane control percentage every time. But what I found really interesting about Jaiswal was that in the very same innings, he was able to bat fast, then he was able to gear it back, then again he was able to bat fast. So that range within the same innings is also another very interesting thing. And if you remember his previous hundreds, his very first 100 in the West Indies, that was like at 44 strike rate or something. He played like 387 balls then. Then he had a couple of double hundreds against England. Those were a bit quicker. One was 90 strike rate, one was in the 70s. So you see the sort of range that we are talking about here from one player who is just like 23 at the moment and batting so well across conditions. And so far the only series that he's not done well.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So far the only series he's not done well is that South Africa one. And even that was a series where everybody was right. Barely anybody made runs. KL Rahul made a century. Kohli got some runs. But apart from that, it was a tough series for batting. And if that is the one series where he fails, everywhere else, home and away, he has done well. Like, what an incredible start to his Test career, man.
Yeah, so I believe he gets 100 in his first match in West Indies, Australia, and England.
Australia and now England. Yeah, even in India, I think he would have got right. I think he gets an 80 in his first innings in India, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it that same game where he just smashes Bashir a lot? And wasn't it Bashir? Yeah.
In the first game, Bashir was
Jaiswal.
No? Wait, which game were you talking about? In the India?
The India-England series. Who was the spinner at that time?
No, Bashir. It was Tom Hartley who was smashing.
Oh yeah, Tom Hartley, left arm.
No, Bashir didn't have the visa, remember?
Yeah, he came a series later. Sorry, he came the next game, right? Or the game after that.
I think he plays. Does he play Rajkot or does he play Vizag? I can't remember now. First, yeah, he was looking good, and he just kind of does like a lazy shot even in that Hyderabad test.
Yeah, and that entire innings was India just playing like silly shots and ended up getting out.
Yeah. Again, which is very interesting, right? Because today is the first time, like, for a while, I think I've actually seen India bat well.
Exactly.
In the first innings, mainly.
Such a long time.
When was the last time India batted well in the first innings? Right? It must be the England series, I think.
Yeah, it must be that. I can't really think of any other series.
It's been so long. Because I was like, I kept expecting a collapse to happen, and still might tomorrow. Like, I guess I have no faith whatsoever.
Yeah. Right. So actually, this was for KL Rahul and Jaiswal. This was actually their second best partnership. You were right. So they had that 200 partnership, and this time they made 91. Right. So I think let's hope this partnership continues. Yeah. As a pair, because it's very important to get those opening partnerships going. And Jaiswal just makes, from his first 100 runs, only 10 runs were on the leg side. When have we last seen a test innings like that in recent times?
Yeah, it was a
90
bizarre
runs on the
innings.
offside.
England, they just kept bowling wide to him. And you're like, just bowl at his body, bro. Like, all right, so before we move on to Shubman Gill, we'll just take a quick break. Don't go anywhere, lads.
Cricket boards actually make watching their games almost impossible. I spend almost as much time trying to find where I can view it as I do actually following the action. That is why I use NordVPN. They let me find all the cricket I want to watch while protecting me from the nasty side of the internet. Nord will free your cricket matches. Grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/good areas to get a huge discount off your NordVPN plan plus 4 additional months on top. It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Watch every match with NordVPN.
Welcome back to Third Innings, and I'm Varun and Shayan. And before we just start talking about Shubman Gill, let's just answer Karthik's super chat. So Karthik says, people will say flat wicket, but one of these days, Yashasvi could have easily nicked one of those false shots and Gill might have walked in well inside the 15th over. Yeah, easily, right? I think
exactly.
That's one of the things that annoys me when people are like, well, this is easily the flattest pitches like in the world, right? I'm like, Bangladesh with Sri Lanka is happening at the same time. That is much flatter than whatever the hell we saw today.
True.
And again, I also think because we've seen so many spicy pitches, people are saying like batting, when the moment batters do well, they're like, oh, it's a road. Again, it's all road, lads. Like, if that was the case, like a lot of old batters have no hundreds then. Like, I think these Polo deserve some stat padding games, right?
True. I think it was just a good wicket for batting. I wouldn't say it was a road and that there wasn't any help for the bowling at all. And I actually think England were bowling fine. Like they weren't bowling terribly in the first 10 overs or something. They were fine. I don't think like that opening spell from Vokes and Cars was pretty decent, right? I don't think they did that much wrong, did they?
Yeah, we'll
Whenever
come
they
back.
were bowling
We'll talk
full,
about. Yeah, we'll come to England's bowling soon. So we'll discuss it more in detail then. So let's go to the Captain Gill. First match as captain, walks in number 4, a position that basically for 25
For
years has
30
been held by
years.
30 years has been held by Sachin Tendulkar, then Virat Kohli. Comes
Yeah.
in, gets a 56 balls. He's just bass bowling away, and without ever looking like he was trying really hard to score quickly.
Exactly.
Right? I was like, this is easily the best I've seen Shubman Gill bat in a while.
Yeah.
Away from home,
Those-
it's the best I've seen him bat away from home ever.
Yeah.
Right, because the
Absolutely,
Sky were
man,
talking about it, right? How to in swingers he's only averaging 18, and they kept
Hmm.
bowling in swingers to him, and Gill just kept blocking it. He played beautifully.
Exactly.
He got
And
100.
everything.
I was so happy when he got 100. I was like,
Yeah,
because these fans will rip him to shreds if he fails in this.
I know. Exactly.
Right.
And see, there was another graphic on Sky which was saying how Gill was leaving good length outside off stumps. He kept leaving, and anything full, anything short, anything like bouncers, everything else, he was striking at well above 100. In that good length, he was striking at 26 at the time they showed that graphic. So that was brilliant stuff from him. Like that is a sort of game that we expect from Shubman Gill, right? And I also think a big part of this is the entry point that he gets, right? The fact that he comes in when he does comes in the second session. I think number 4, we have been saying this for a long time, right? Shubman Gill at number 4 or number 5, and this has finally come true. And what a start! Like I remember Virat Kohli also got his first 100. Virat Kohli also got 100 at number 4 when he went to South Africa, right? So
Yeah.
in that sense, has Shubman Gill truly taken over the passing of the baton has happened now, and I think let's hope it continues for the rest of this match, rest of this innings, and the rest of the series. So it was very, very good batting from him. He was looking very good on the drives. He was also pulling really well. If you saw, there was that one instance where he backed away a bit, and then I can't remember who the bowler was. Probably Vokes. He bowls a bit short, and then he still pulls it away for a single. He was batting on like 111, 112 at that time, I think. So that
So
was
I
pretty
think,
good.
unlike Jaiswal, Gill kind of makes his runs all over the ground. I'd say more like his wagon
does,
is
he
more
does.
varied. So
Definitely.
what I remember, if I remember correctly, initially he was driving a lot, and he was playing that classic flick of the legs, and then once he got more set, he started playing the cut shot more, right?
Exactly. So the cut shot ends up being his most productive shot today. He gets 25 runs off it. But yeah, as you said, on the leg side, he gets 60 runs on the leg side, and then the rest of the 67 runs are on the offside. So this is a lot more even as compared to what Jaiswal played. And I think when you have a partnership like this, it does make bowling really hard, right? Like, and field settings as well. So do you also think England probably went a bit too defensive with their field settings? Maybe, but this is something we always.
At one point, it was like that, right? And it was very weird seeing baseball become defensive again. Is
Exactly. They were mentioning it on the comms as well.
Yeah, I think Stuart Broad looked shocked.
Yeah.
You're just confused. It's like I've never seen such a defensive field from Ben ever. And there was like, and because India was scoring like over 4 runs and over with relative ease, right?
Yeah,
Which is I was thinking that before the series, I was like, these are some of the best white ball batsers in the world. I'm like, how are people saying they won't bat quickly if the conditions are in their favor, right?
True.
Yeah, because would you not
I
say
think-
pound for pound, India are better white ball team? Like this exact lineup would be still do really well in a white ball setup. I think I'd still back them over England.
Yeah, I think there should be a better white ball side than England, isn't it? It's also about ODI or T20. If we're talking about ODI, even then we have to give it to India, right? Isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
KL Rahul
Even
is in
T20,
India's
like
team.
would you take even in the T20? It's let's say if you open with Jaiswal, KL, Sai, and Shubman, is that not a better T20 lineup than Crawley, Duckett, Pope, and Root? And that's all 4.
True. I agree with that.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They do have better white ball batting skills. Yeah.
Again, for some reason, like the most I've seen Gill struggle was right at the end when Cars actually learned how to bowl properly on this pitch. Just with that new ball, right? It was so good, and even then I was half expecting him to get out at some point and the collapse to start, but it didn't happen, thankfully. Again, I'm so happy there was no collapse today, which means there's probably going to be one tomorrow, and I'm gonna guess Pant is gonna start it, like as he usually does. And speaking of Pant, let's move on to Rishabh Pant. Right, he's walked in at number 5, and finally, for the poor lad, after walking in at 20 for 3, a day after day in Australia, he's come in at 221 for 3, right? In an easy entry point for him. Right? And then I was like, oh, Pant is gonna go nuts. He comes down the track, hits a 4 to Stokes. Stokes is laughing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he just like goes defensive. He
just shut shop, bro. Like for a very long time, for like a good. Okay, so I went away for like half an hour during the game, and before that and after that, for a long while, like Pant was not batting fast. Pant was just like in a shell. Like it's not that he was out of control or anything, mind you. He was playing very well. He was batting very well defensively. So, but after a point, I think it's that Bashir over where he gets that 4 out of 6, right? I think after that he gets going and Pant is back to doing what he does. And if you look at his control percentage right now, it's 85. But I think when he was batting defensively, it was more in the 90s. So it was a very unlike innings from Pant. And Pant did what he does, I think, towards the end of the day's play. Once you saw that 1-4 that he hit, like
there's
right
a sweep,
towards the end of the
he
that went for a 4. yeah. I think it was the second last over, or was it the last over? Okay,
I remember the Vokes is 6 though. That's what
Vokes, exactly. That was the first ball of the last over of the day. Correct.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know. I think I mentioned it in the group when Pant was batting like really slowly. I was scared because I was like, I'm like, what is he gonna do?
I was also talking to a friend. I was talking to a friend about this Rishabh Pant innings. I was like, what happened to my boy? Who broke him? Is it Lucknow Super Giants who broke him?
He's the senior batter of the team. That's why he's doing this.
Yeah.
He was really happy. I don't know if you saw that article or
I heard.
Like he said, he was really happy to be the senior player finally after being called the youngster for so long. I was like, this is a very senior batter innings. Like I was like, did Saurav Ganguly's ghost take over Rishabh? Like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
I was like,
that's true,
all right.
That's true.
I think that's kind of shit.
Go ahead.
The
4 that Rishabh Pant gets to get his half century, that was also an amazing one, right? he plays a slog sweep, but somehow it's like straight down the ground for a 4.
It's just a mid-on. Like without even aiming there, I was like, it's a punch
towards mid-on. True. Oh, was it towards long on or mid-on? I think it was more.
I thought it was mid-on. I can't remember at this point. Wait, we could probably spot this.
It was towards long on. Yeah, it was a mistimed 4 towards long on, and he actually ends up getting 3,000 runs from that. So 3,000 runs for a test keeper batter, that is another special achievement for Rishabh Pant as usual. And
we're in agreement. He's India's best test keeper batter, right?
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt about it for me. In Test match cricket, he's definitely India's finest batter among wicket keeping batters. Among the wicket keeping batters, I think. Pure wicket keeping, I think it's still you have to give it to probably Dhoni. Saha was brilliant. Then some of the older keepers, I'm not very sure how they compare with this. I have to do more research and homework on that. But I do think, so Rishabh Pant did what he does, and even with the second new ball, India kept looking for runs. And they didn't really go defensive. It was actually that one small period in the middle where they were just like so. I think it was the partnership where they got to 50. They got to 50 of 96 balls. Then they get to 100 of 147 balls. So that is a
even when they're batting slowly, it was still a decent rate, right? It's not like they're doing 2 runs and over anything. Yeah.
No, nothing like that. But excuse me, it was definitely that after a point, and they are currently at 138 of 198. So they have been batting at a good pace more or less all of the time, right?
Absolutely. So apparently I've sent the super chat. I don't know how that's going on. Cheers on getting on a podcast with Kimber. Okay. I don't know. I feel like I missed something there.
Is that your alter
I don't know if
ego,
that's is that me? I don't know. Like,
bro, but that is a Manchester City fan. That is a Manchester
can't be me.
City fan.
I don't watch football. I live in England, but I don't watch football, which is one of the weirdest things.
True. Exactly. Yeah.
The hell were we talking about, by the way? Pant, right? Yes.
Rishabh Pant. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Again, it started off slowly. Then Pant just kept getting more Pant. I was like, this is Pant. It was like playing a reckless shot, giving you a heart attack. That's Rishabh Pant, baby.
and Pant scores 22 of his runs in the V. So we often talk about how batters shouldn't be scoring in the V. In England, you have to play more.
Not Rishabh. Not all Rishabh.
Not Rishabh. Of course, Some of that is also spin bowling, so he does hit Bashir as well, so we have to take that into account.
Yeah,
But just speaking
agreed.
generally,
Yeah,
very good
also,
job.
like, again, I'm so glad he didn't play the stupid scoop shot. I keep talking
he
Shayan about
tried
this.
that
I
one.
hate the scoop. I
He tried
hate
that
the
one,
scoop.
He
Damn it,
tried
man.
that, but
Yeah, because not just in Test cricket, I hate that in T20 cricket too. Because my logic is usually batters, I think, choose the wrong balls to scoop. Because I'm like, unless the only person who should be scooping is if you don't have enough power to clear the ground, right?
sorry, the only person who should be scooping
Is someone who hasn't got enough power to clear the boundary in front of
fair
them.
enough. Fair. Makes
So
sense.
like
Makes
Sky, I
someone
get
who's
it.
more
He's not powerful, right?
yeah,
Rishabh can
someone
clear
that can
every
time
ground in the
ball.
world. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think in the last ball of the first over, when they take the new ball, that is when he plays that shot, and he doesn't get out, but there's like a bit of a this thing. They don't take that review. They don't end up taking that review, but yeah.
All right. So let's finally get to England's bowling. So they were, I like. What did you think, Shayan? Like, just overall.
So, first of all, I think this is a very new, inexperienced English bowling attack. Even for their recent standards, I feel they don't have Gus Atkinson, who has been really good, who was really good for them last summer. So that's definitely a miss. And they didn't go with Sam Cook, which probably makes sense because they already have Chris Wokes. And then the other bowler was Bryden Cars, who has actually had a good start to his Test career. He's done well in Pakistan and New Zealand, and that probably shows us that he can manufacture wickets. And he's that sort of bowler who can bowl on good batting wickets. So, but today India just batted well against every single bowler, and I don't really think any of the bowlers caused massive issues. Ben Stokes was probably England's best bowler today, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think he's easily like when he got Jaiswal out, I'm like, he's him.
Jaiswal.
I was so terrified.
so-
He's just gonna bowl a 10 over spell again.
Yeah. And at this point, he can't even bowl a lot, right? Like because he's just coming back from injury and everything. He would want to contribute with the ball, but I don't think they don't want him to be in a situation where he has to do fourth bowler workload. Just fifth bowler is fine, but
Yeah,
fourth
yeah.
bowler consistently can't happen. I think so. Yeah, I think some inexperience
I
from
thought
them.
the bowling plans were just weird. As we talked about before, just bowling White to Jaiswal just did not make any sense.
Correct.
And they were,
Yeah.
I don't think they bowled that well to Gill either. Why the hell are you bowling short to Shubman Gill? right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think they really at some point should have just swapped the plans between Gill and Jaiswal, and then they might have been done better, right?
Probably, excuse me. Yeah, I think they could have probably done that. And giving wit to Jaiswal means that is a player who's really good at playing the cut shot. And we have seen this in Australia. And we often see that left-handers, even Travis Head, for some reason in the modern game, I've noticed is that left-handers seem to be better at playing the cut shot. Now, I'm not sure about why that happens, but I have noticed this. And especially with Jaiswal, is really good at that shot. So giving him width outside of some bowling, so he's just going to keep slashing. You might get a nick at some point, but today was not
Yeah.
that day, and so he does
Yeah,
well.
I think
And
we have to be prepared, right? One of these days it'll be like 20 of 30 and then nick one, as he
Yeah.
did in that A game, right?
correct. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
we
Even
have
now,
to be prepared.
yeah, we have to be prepared for a situation like that as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think Sir Krank has a very interesting question. I think it's a bit about Jaiswal. So I have an interesting question. Has Jaiswal been the best Test batter since his debut, or is it still Root? I feel Jaiswal has played in tougher conditions, in a tougher position, so probably him. I think it's a fair question to ask.
It's a good debate, I think. Yeah. It's probably one of those two, isn't it? At this point, because
where does Root make runs in that period?
Root has a good Ashes at home. Root
Yeah.
makes a lot of runs in the English summer as well. Root makes big runs in the first match in Pakistan. I
Yes.
think in the next two games he doesn't make a lot of runs. Then
Yeah.
in New Zealand also I think Root again makes runs. And what was the other game? What was the other country they toured?
New Zealand? I think-
They toured India. New Zealand I mentioned.
Oh,
right?
in India, yes, of course. India,
Yeah, so in
yes.
India also Root gets runs like towards the end, but it was not like a
Yeah.
root sort of a series. So yeah, I think he
I
does
think
well.
that's fair. I don't think it's probably between those two, right? Who are we missing?
Yeah, it's
in
probably
this?
between those two. We'll have to do a deeper dive into it. But I think now that
Yeah.
you mentioned that it's about opening and India also batting pitches have been a bit difficult in that last season, plus in Australia. So I think even I would be inclined to go with Jaiswal at the moment. I think it's a good fair point to make.
Yeah, I think that's
Root-
fair. I'm probably like I wouldn't mind going into a Jaiswal because Jaiswal is opened
Yeah.
in that Australia that
Exactly.
BGC series might have swayed it in the end.
Exactly. So I think definitely that was a good job.
I
go
think
with
have we
Jaiswal.
covered everything, right? I think we
Yeah,
have.
I think we have covered the day's play. We've talked about their bowling. We've talked about the Indian batting. Do you think there's
Yeah,
anything
and
else?
so what? So what do you think will happen tomorrow? Will India try to? So apparently, Behram was telling us there's a rain forecast. Does that change the way
Yeah.
India play tomorrow?
Yeah, what if they just go like, okay, let's get to 500 as soon as possible and declare? Because the thing is, if it's a good batting surface, then England will also come back. That's what I was thinking about it, right? Because if England are going to bat fast, they can bat faster than India, and India's bowling attack. I mean, of course, a lot of it is Bumrah, how well Bumrah does and how which version of Siraj turns up. But India's bowling attack also, I think it's safe to say it's not a great bowling attack. It's not. I think neither of the teams have the same level of bowling attack that they did on the previous Patodi
Yeah.
series, isn't it? So
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's some bowlers are better, but some bowlers are not as good. I think it's probably fair you'd say.
yeah, I think that's fair. I
Yeah.
think. Like
Again,
you'll
it-
probably take
so
this
much
version
of
of
it-
Bumrah over
Yeah,
that.
you take this version. Agreed.
Yeah.
Again, if the pitch is flat, Bumrah is just probably India's. Again, it would be true in any pitch anyway, but he's India's most important bowler, is he not?
Absolutely. And I think Bumrah is Bumrah, of course, but I think a lot of this is going to a lot of the series, in fact, I feel, is going to rely on how well Siraj does with the ball. Siraj and even with the bat, KL Rahul. I think these are the two players who you really want to, like they have been good. They have been good for a long while, but you want them to be at that one level above, probably just so that India perform much better as a team. And I think Siraj being the second pacer now, he's not the third pacer. He hasn't been the third pacer, in fact, since the last cycle. So now Siraj, I hope that Siraj also has a really good game.
Yeah, so what was I gonna think? So yeah, so if Headingley traditionally becomes flatter as the game goes on, right? Let's say I'm gonna assume that trend will continue in this test as well, that it will get
Yeah.
flatter. If India, let's say, don't make a big score, England have a very good chance of coming back, right? They could easily make 500 very quickly. I think they did that against New Zealand once, do they not? When New Zealand make 500 and then England come back and make 500 again.
Was it one of that? Was it the series where Tom Blundell and Daryl Mitchell were making a lot of runs?
Yeah.
I think Daryl Mitchell
Baseball
makes like
Inception.
500. Yeah. I think it was the very first baseball series. And now I'm curious to see which game you're talking about. I will look
That's
that
the
up
second test.
now. England versus New Zealand, second test in 2022.
Yep.
The Nottingham test. Okay. Yeah. Oh wow. What if we get a game like this? Okay.
It would be hilarious. Would it not?
Fair
And
enough.
India,
Fair enough.
India has a
Because
third
New
innings
Zealand-
pickle again.
And New Zealand are 300 and New Zealand were 318 for 4 on day one. That's not massively different from where India is at the moment. Like India have scored more runs and they've lost one fewer wicket. So that is there. But what if a similar thing happens in this match? That will be entertaining to watch for sure.
Yeah, because it's like it could go either way, could it not? Because if India, let's say, do make 600 in 150 overs, like it might happen. Like let's say Karan does well,
It could happen.
Jadeja has
Yeah.
a decent game, Shardul comes and slogs a few,
Yeah.
and then England, let's say, get bowled out for like 350, and it rains out. India would be criticized for batting too long.
That could also happen.
And then
right?
if India like try to attack and they get bowled out for 450, and England make 500, it would be a case of they should have taken better advantage of the conditions.
Exactly.
It's a bit of a precarious situation for India at this point.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say that
I would say
they
even
should just
I'd rather go the draw option. Simply, just even if it rains, just be like, get some runs, get some confidence under your belt. You guys deserve it, right?
fair enough.
Yeah.
I think on
And
that
Ben
note, I
Willen
think
should do
we can
everything in
end-
his power to ensure the result, right?
Sorry? I couldn't catch you there.
I'm saying Ben will do everything he can to get a result, so that you'll be fine. Don't worry about it on
absolutely.
your end.
Yeah, exactly. We have seen matches on much flatter wickets in Pakistan where they've somehow managed to force results, and I think and someone also mentions how Peachy Back actually mentions that in a Bumrah game that is not going to happen. I think
No, we're not talking
If,
about like the teams will play for a draw. If there's rain, that's what I'm wondering.
Exactly.
If it's raining,
exactly.
that's the only way I can think the draw will happen. If we have 5 days, there's no chance in hell this is a draw.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. So let's see what's in store in this test match. And I think on that note, that wraps up for today.
Yeah, that should be enough for today. Thank you so much for listening to us, guys. We'll probably be here tomorrow again. I'd like to think
Yeah.
if both of us are free again.
We should be here
Thank you
for
so
this
much.
weekend,
Hopefully-
I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and then at some point Behram will come back. I don't even know what the hell's going on here. All right, thank you so much for listening. Bye.
Brian Lara used pot plants to work on his placement. John Wright glued his glove to his bat. Sachin Tendulkar dug up practice pictures. Tatenda Taibu cut the top off his bat. Claire Taylor used a hockey grip. Steve Smith was from tennis. Dean Jones would call phantom runs. And Victor Trumper turned the nets into a war zone to survive. The best batters in the world do whatever they have to make runs. We have told their stories in our new book, The Art of Batting.